all right. Good evening to everybody that's watching this show. Y'all already know what that show is. It's the Back Porch Show with your man Fonz.
Quan, what's up?
Hey man, it's almost over, man. We get ready to get up on Turkey Boy Day, and I kind of feel like I'm at autopilot. You know what I'm saying? You ever felt that way?
Yeah. I felt that way plenty of times.
So I'm like, let's just go through the motions just to get it over with. So I can have them 2 days off, a
Yes.
long weekend. But yeah, thank y'all for watching the show and tuning in and clicking the button on the thumbnail and whatnot. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and jump into one of the craziest topics of the week. So an article, and I used to like this platform. I used to like Bleacher Report. I ain't even gonna hold you. But the guy said that Lamar Jackson, on top of a few other quarterbacks, are overrated, and he got Lamar Jackson as number one on the top of the overrated um, throughout the history of the NFL. His reason, while legitimate, is not. It kind of really don't hold a lot of weight for me personally. His reason is playoff successes and failures that went into him being a multi-time MVP, being the most overrated. So before I even go into my spiel, I want to get your thoughts on that, man.
I want to hear from you, and you want to hear from me. Uh, I guess, Lord, I don't like the overrated thing for Lamar. Um, I think Lamar is a great quarterback. He brings a lot to the table for the Ravens. Multi MVP winner. Should have been, could have been third MVP this past year.
Hmm.
With a lot of questions going on with his passing ability. I mean, his last season statistics and passing was crazy. Um, but overrated, I feel like, is a little extreme. Now, the playoff success is it's a huge question. He's 3-5. He's won what 60% of his playoff games. I think
Hmm.
he got like seven interceptions, only 10 touchdowns in the playoffs. Um, but I can't say that he's overrated. I can say that he needs to show up in the playoffs. I mean, I think that's what everybody wants, everybody expects going into. I mean, for the least at least past 2-3 seasons, the Ravens have been highly favored to either go to a Super Bowl or deep run in the playoffs since Lamar, and especially with Derrick Henry signing and everything. That really um, pushed the odds for them to become a Super Bowl contender. Even to this day, I think they're still somewhat of a favorite. I mean, yeah, the record and everything this year, started off slow, but they're starting to stack wins kind of late in the season or whatever. But I disagree with the overrated statement about Lamar. I think that yes, he's done a lot in the regular season. He's a great regular season player. I just want him to, well, not really, but I want him to be able to show up and win a playoff game, and especially get that thorn out of his back with the Kansas City Chiefs, um, and everything like that. And also not to take into and to take into consideration, this is a guy that has only had a tight end as a number one option for a majority of his career until they did get Zay Flowers over there, but Mark Andrews was his only target at one point in time. Um, and so getting his team to a point where they can contend, without the injury bug that has hit him a few times,
Hmm.
um, and stuff like that. I just think it's a little too early to say that he's overrated. I just think the reason why this topic came out is because people are wanting and expecting him to bring home Lombardies. But yeah, I don't know about the overrated thing. I just think it's a little, just with the circumstances at hand. I just think it's a little too much.
And I'm tending to agree with you, but I'm gonna give a little context to the discussion. So Again, Lamar Jackson is an elite category when we talking about multiple MVP winners. The others being Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, and Patrick Mahomes. You touched on Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, yes, in the regular season, that's the guy, that's his go-to guy. But in the playoffs, as we saw, the game against Buffalo, Mark Andrews does not show up in the playoffs either. To his record, Mark Andrews has 29 catches for 315 yards in 8 playoff games. That's not the model of consistency. So, yes, the stakes are high in the playoffs. It's win or go home. It's not like the NBA where it's best of 7. But going back to the other MVP winners, these guys had something that Lamar Jackson has yet to have. Now let's talk about defensive ranking. 2019, Lamar Jackson had the third best scoring defense. 2023 had the first best scoring defense. Tom Brady had, in the times he won MVP, he had 2 top 10 defenses. And one could argue in 2018 the defense carried Tom Brady's offense. In 2015, everybody knows about the Denver no-fly zone. That was the 4th best scoring defense. Joe Montana, a lot of y'all, especially the 25 and under, never seen Joe Montana play outside of YouTube clips. In all 4 of his Super Bowl wins, he had a top 8 defense. And Patrick Mahomes' defense is honestly range between the top 12 and top 16th. This is where the difference goes. So we can agree that these guys all had otherworld defenses, but this is where it stops. A quarterback, regardless to where he is, who he is, or how he is only as good as his offensive line is good. Lamar Jackson in 2019 had the 19th best offensive line. 2023 had the 10th best, so it was like mid to high tier. Tom Brady's offensive lines, they was consistently solid through his first 4 Super Bowl wins in 01, 03, 04, and 16. As we all know, the Patriots had 2 sets of dynasties. Brady has always had an excellent offensive line. Peyton Manning always had an excellent offensive line, very high grade. Joe Montana, different era, different time, where there wasn't a lot of rules that catered to the offense. Even he had a decent offensive line. And Patrick Mahomes' offensive lines always ranged between the top 5 and top 10 units, minus that one blip in the matrix where he lost to the Buccaneers. That offensive line was decimated by injuries. I say all that to say this. Comparing Lamar Jackson to the historical quarterbacks who had everything to be successful is totally unfair. And I'm not saying that because I'm a fan. I'm saying that because I feel like it's the truth. We cannot deny his regular season dominance. The man is a regular season junkie. Now this year, again, the offensive line is butt cheeks. So he's already been sacked well over 30 times, going up against ferocious pass rushes. I mean, daggone Myles Garrett on the other day almost he almost broke his season high had the Ravens not make adjustments in halftime. But yeah, to be overrated, first of all, you don't win an MVP by being overrated. To me, the most overrated quarterback to win a Super Bowl was Nick Foles. Second, Brad Johnson. Third, Trent Dilfer. And that's what we're talking about when we say overrated. But to pin everything solely on Lamar, but then change the narrative for others, that right there, I don't like that. So I really feel like this whole article, this whole discourse was just clickbait to get views. And on top of that, the author by the name of Alex K, he's a freelance writer, so he's not even associated with Bleacher Report. He just wrote an article because, I think on that platform, you can actually submit your own article. Yeah, that was not where it is. He gave some valid points about the playoff situation, but your team as a whole got to show up in the playoffs. Everybody has to show up, even down to the coaching. Because how many times have we looked at a Ravens game and said, "Why are they calling that?"
I mean, I think what happened maybe, well, I think that was during the regular season one time where they only ran the ball a few times, but I really think the criticism is coming from the playoff performances of Lamar and the Baltimore Ravens. As you already mentioned, Jackson, has demonstrated his dual threat ability, winning games with his legs and his arms, especially in his first playoff victory in 2020 versus the Titans. And then in his most recent playoff run in 2024, he played against the Bills, as you know, in the divisional round with 254 yards and two touchdowns. Still lost that game. But, sometimes every once in a while we see Jackson struggling being somewhat of a consistent passer, and that may be due to the offensive line that you talked about, but that sometimes revert to some old habits under pressure. Um, his career playoff passer rating is not as high as his regular season, as we know. And then turnovers don't help anymore. With struggling with things like that, especially with play calling. Especially with the last one, I think they rushed the ball 6 times, and you got Derrick Henry back there. That's a play calling issue, or maybe a coaching issue. But in several playoff losses, Jackson had made critical mistakes that had led to playoffs, including the pick six against the Bills in 2020 and a red zone interception against the Chiefs in 2023 in the AFC Championship. And like I said, the thorn in his back is the Bills and the Chiefs. He has combined 0-3 against the Bills and the Chiefs together combined in the playoffs. So that's what it boils down to. You're going to have to either beat the Chiefs, you're going to have to beat the Bills in order to even think about a Super Bowl. Maybe not the Chiefs this year. I don't know. We'll get into that a little later on. But maybe not even the Bills, honestly. But this year is a little different. But yeah, I think the criticism is his playoff performances.
But you, at the end of the day, and then we can say this, we can move on however we want to do it. I feel like everybody, not just Lamar Jackson, but everybody in the organization got to step up. From the coaching to the assistant coaching, everybody got to step up because again, the playoffs is not a best of seven series. It's win or go home. And do I absolve Lamar Jackson for the playoff some of the playoff failures? No, I do not. Because I've sat on my couch angry at Lamar Jackson quite a few times. But at the same time, especially going back to the AFC Championship game. Now, here's the thing: the Chiefs played the Buffalo Bills the week before. Buffalo, I think, rushed for over 200 yards against the Chiefs. and they only called 6 runs the entire game, the Ravens in the AFC Championship game, while shutting out the Chiefs offense in the second half of that game, which is ridiculous. So it starts at the top at the end of the day. Yes, Lamar Jackson got to clean up the things that he got to do, but to call him overrated, I feel like that's disrespectful and disingenuous. And basically, if you really think he's really overrated, you really don't know football. But we can move on if you like from that one.